Hey there everybody, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Rama, and in today's video, I'll be breaking into every single Imani Tech vehicle that is available in Grand Theft Auto Online. I'm not only going to be telling you each and every of their capabilities and characteristics, but I'm also going to be ranking all of them. As you can see, we have 4 cars in front of me. I have a blue car, a green car, a yellow car, and a red car. And just like tier maker, these are corresponding categories. So we have this being the D tier, this being B tier, yellow being A tier, and then we have red being S tier. So as we can see, it starts off bad and makes its way better and better. We're going to be ranking each and every car in today's video. Now, it's going to be hard to rank some of them because the first group of vehicles we'll be talking about aren't necessarily Imani Tech cars. They do have some abilities like missile lock-on jammers, or, you know, some of them have semi-bulletproof glass, but for the most part, these vehicles do not feature Imani Tech armor. And that's why we're going to be starting off with these. So, we have the Turismo Amaggio. It does not feature bulletproof glass, as we can see, but what it does feature is one of the best lap times in the game, incredible acceleration and handling, and a missile lock-on jammer. The missile lock-on jammer is really good, and when you pair that with the fact that this is just a great car in general, I am going to be putting it into the A tier. This is an amazing supercar, and even without the armor and everything else it has going, it's still a really, really good shout. We have the NV Saz, which features the exact same thing, a missile lock-on jammer. It has nothing else going for it apart from that. But once again, I'm going to be putting it into the A category because this vehicle is fast. It features amazing customization. In terms of it being a sports car, it's one of the best sports cars in the game. It just doesn't feature a much in terms of armor or protection. But that's not the only way we're ranking cars today. Now we arrive to one that doesn't feature Imani Tech armor, but does have bulletproof glass, at least for 27 rifle rounds, and that is the Gallivanter Baller STD. This car is going to go into the... Honestly, it's going to go into the D tier category. I'm going to be honest. I think this is one of the most mediocre Imani Tech cars. As I said, it features no explosion resistance. It doesn't have a missile lock-on jammer. All it has is semi-bulletproof glass. And at that point, just buy an armored baller, which is going to do the exact same thing, or buy any one of the other SUVs which actually do feature Imani Tech armor. So, yeah, this one I think actually deserves to be in D tier. Let me know in the comments if you agree, but I don't think it deserves anything higher than B tier. Next up, we have the Panad Law Course. Once again, does not feature any bulletproof glass, but is incredibly fast, has an HSW variant, which actually makes it one of the best sports cars in the entire game. So even though it only has a missile lock-on jammer, this is still, in my opinion, an S-tier vehicle. The speed, the maneuverability, everything going for it is incredible, and just that missile lock-on jammer is enough to basically stop you from being killed. As we can see, we have the Monstrosity, which features a completely bulletproof back due to having no glass panes. It's also quite fast. It's got an HSW variant, which makes it incredibly fun to mess around with, and because of that, this one's going to be going in the A tier. Again, I don't think it's S-tier worthy, but it is an incredibly good car in general, and it's just really fun to mess around with. Now we move on to the actual Imani Tech armored vehicles. These are cars that feature explosion resistance, and quite a bit of it. Not the most explosion resistance, but these ones all feature explosion resistance. What they don't have is bulletproof glass. We can see each one of these cars is not going to be surviving any bullets to the head, so that is something you're going to have to keep in mind, but it obviously doesn't take away from their other capabilities. So we start off with the Canis Terminus, and this is honestly S tier. The Terminus is one of the fastest off-road vehicles in the game, and it has great explosion resistance, able to survive upwards of 4 sticky bombs and RPGs before being blown up, and 10 homing missiles. It has a homing missile lock-on jammer as well. It's incredibly fast. It's a 4-seater, and it is one of the most fun Imani Tech vehicles in the game. It is the best off-road Imani Tech vehicle, and that's a fact. So if you're looking for an off-road vehicle, that's the one to go for. We have the Grotti Itali GTO Stinger TT. This is the fastest Imani Tech car in the game. In fact, it's the fastest car in the game at 169 miles per hour with its HSW upgrade. Not only is it fast, but it features the exact same protection as the Canis Terminus, and because of that, it's a tricky one for me to rank. I Let me see the other cars we have to go here. Yeah, honestly, I'm going to be putting this in S tier. I know not everybody loves this car. I know there's people that don't love the handling, but at the end of the day, it's the fastest Imani Tech car in the game. It still features incredible armor and protection. You cannot knock those capabilities. So that is why it's making it as far up as it is. We now have the Anis 300R, and this is a pretty average Imani Tech vehicle. It doesn't feature much speed, it doesn't feature much armor, and really all it has going for it is the missile lock-on jammer. So we're just going to be, and I should also say the armor itself is alright. Like, it's still Imani Tech armor. You're going to survive 10 homing missiles for everything. It's just not as good as the other Imani Tech vehicles. So in that regard, actually, you know what? I'm going to put it into the B tier. I just don't really think that there's anything spectacular about this car. I love the way it looks, don't get me wrong. Customization-wise, it's amazing. But even the vehicles ahead of it here have much better lap time, and because of that, I think they're slightly better in terms of overall capabilities. Now, this is a very, very fun Imani Tech. This is the Inas Paragon S. It's honestly the newest Imani Tech car that has been released. I think it looks amazing, and not only does it look amazing, but it is fast. It features great handling, great maneuverability, easy S tier, no question on my mind. This is probably one of the best Imani Tech cars in the game. Rockstar did an absolutely fantastic job on that vehicle. Its customization, everything is great. We arrive to another B-tier vehicle. This one is the Vapid Illusion. It is a Worst Granger 3600. That's all it is. It has Imani Tech armor. Like, that part's alright. Don't get me wrong. It has the ability to survive some explosions, but it's got big windows and none of them are bulletproof, and that is a massive problem. It is obviously better than the Baller, because the Baller has 0 armor, but it's still pretty dang mediocre. And we finish off in the category of non-bulletproof glass and mediocre explosion resistance with the Bravado Greenwood. I like the Greenwood, but I don't love it. And in terms of Imani Tech capabilities, it's going to go into the B tier as well. It's basically the same as the Illusion. You know, it has a lot of easy shots through the glass. It's not very hard to hit a person driving it. And it's not the fastest in its class. It's not the best handling. It's a cheap Imani Tech car. So if you're looking for an inexpensive choice, it's a decent pickup, but at the end of the day, you can get an Ocelot Virtue for free, and the Ocelot Virtue is better in every single way. And speaking of the Virtue, that's exactly what we're breaking into now. The vehicles we just talked about are your stock standard Imani Tech. They survive 4 RPGs, they survive 10 homing missiles, and they have homing missile lock-on jammers. These vehicles survive 10 RPGs, 10 homing missiles, and obviously have missile lock-on jammers and the mines and everything. So these are the most resistant, explosive Imani Tech vehicles in the game. And we start off with the Virtue, which is an easy S tier. Not even a doubt in my mind. This is an incredibly fast vehicle. Features the fastest acceleration out of any car, even HSW, in the game. It has great handling, even if, you know, it's a little slippery. You can get it down pretty well, and it's a very, very enjoyable car to drive. It's just amazing to look at. Its customization's fantastic, and as I said, you can get it for free completing the first and last dose missions for Dax. So it's just an amazing car and easily deserves the S tier category. And oh boy, this is a tricky one as well. We have the Buffalo EVX. This is one of the Imani Tech cars that is definitely slept on, and it's going to be going into the A tier. The only reason it doesn't go into S tier is because I think that I do like the Virtue better. Now, this vehicle does feature HSW upgrades, which allows it to be incredibly fast, and it also features really, really good maneuverability, and it's actually quite good in the explosion resistance as well. But it is a fairly expensive vehicle. The upgrade is going to cost you quite a bit. It's a great car, but the reason I'm putting that in B tier is because this also gets S tier, which is the Obey Ominous EGT. It's a 4-seater, and it's the only 4-seater of the bunch, which is great. It means if you're ever doing heists or missions, it's really nice to have your whole group of friends in. It's fairly fast and pretty maneuverable in the sports category. Plus, it survives a ridiculous amount of explosions, as we went over. It's also very hard to shoot through the back of because of the spoiler here. It's pretty hard to actually squeeze your gun through there. So in general, the EGT is still a fan favorite for a lot of people. I like the Virtue more, but I can tell you the EGT is also an incredible pickup. So the last vehicles we have here are all semi-bulletproof glass, and we can see that here. None of these windows are going to be cut through when we try to shoot through them, which is quite nice. But The downside is they don't survive as many explosions as the electric vehicles. So we start off with the Granger. This is quite a large vehicle, and it would have been in the S tier, but Rockstar unfortunately nerfed its capabilities in terms of the price tag. It's still a really good Imani Tech vehicle. It has semi-bulletproof glass, as we went over. It's decently quick for a very large SUV, and it's basically just a better version of the Illusion. So because of that, it makes it one tier higher. There's nothing insane about it. It's just a fun vehicle. If you like big cars, it's not a bad shout. But in general, I'm not going to say there's anything too crazy. We arrive to the Anus Deity. This is actually a pretty good vehicle. It's one of the cheapest Imani Tech cars in the game. It's actually pretty fast. The only downside is that it doesn't really have much customization going for it, and there's really not too much in general, I'd say, that's crazy about it. So it's just going to go into the B tier. I mean, really, there's just not much crazy about it, and I don't know, it's kind of ugly too. So it's definitely not a bad vehicle. It's still a good shout, but I just don't really like it all that much. The final four vehicles, we start off with the Dubachi Champion. Champion's good. The problem is we have the Buffalo STX, which is literally better. I do like how low down the Champion is, though, and it's very hard to shoot through the back because you can see that spoiler is perfectly leveled with your head height. So that's actually quite nice. The Champion is going to make its way right there next to the Granger into the A tier. It's a good vehicle. The only problem is that it's extremely expensive, but I love the looks. I love the design. It's a really fun car. It's the lowest down of the bunch, and it's one of the only supercars right up there next to the Virtue. So yeah, it's a pretty sweet ride. Buffalo STX is a fan favorite. It's probably voted by many people as the best Imani Tech car in the game, and I would agree. It is easily the best Imani Tech car for many capabilities. If you're looking for raw protection, the Virtue's the way to go. It can survive the most explosions. It has everything going for it. It's incredible. But the Buffalo has the glass, which is great. It features a great top speed of 126. It has decent maneuverability. Actually, it has a better lap time than the Dubachi Champion, which is kind of insane. And it's fairly inexpensive in terms of Imani Tech vehicles. So the STX is really the best choice out of the bunch. I would definitely say that's a really, really good shout. Another really good shout is actually the Jubilee. This is, in my opinion, an extremely slept-on Imani Tech vehicle. It's a four-door. It's very fast for an SUV. And not only that, but it's by far, I think, the cheapest Imani Tech car in the game. And because of that, honestly, I'm going to put it in the S tier. I think people really sleep on this. Because it's so cheap, and because you get it for free inside of your agency, it's a really good vehicle. It's fast, and I actually like the design of it. I know not everybody does, but personally, I think it is an S tier vehicle. I think it's really, really good. The final vehicle we have is the Patriot Mil-Spec. And the Mil-Spec is alright. Personally, I don't really think there's too much good going for it. In fact, it's going to go into the B tier. That's where I'm going to be putting it. The reason why, I know that there's a lot of fanboys out there. I know Harm None absolutely loves the Patriot Mil-Spec, but at the end of the day, it is the slowest Imani Tech vehicle in the game. And it sucks at off-roading because this little lip here actually counts as a hitbox, and it's super low to the ground, and you can't remove that either, so it bottoms out. The Canis Terminus is multiple times faster, better on maneuverability, it survives more, and it's just a better vehicle. So while I like the Mil-Spec, and I think it's a cool vehicle to mess around with, it's just not fast enough. It's not armored enough. If it survived 10 explosions and had the semi-bulletproof glass, it would be amazing. But in my opinion, a Humvee really should be able to survive more, and it's rather disappointing. So it's not a bad vehicle. It's still in the B tier, but it's just nothing crazy. So this is my ranking of all the Imani Tech vehicles available in Grand Theft Auto Online. Some of you might say, well, you can't put all the vehicles in S tier, but let's be honest, Imani Tech cars are the best of the bunch in the game. And if you were to ask me about all the Imani Tech vehicles, these would definitely be my choices for the best of the bunch. Now, in terms of my choice of the best, let's say I were to pick my top three, I'd be going for the Ocelot Virtue. This is easily one of my favorites. I would be going for the Buffalo STX. And to finish off, you would probably see me either driving the Paragon or you would see me driving the Terminus. Both of them are great, and it would be a very hard choice for me to pick. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. And as always, if you'd like to see more like this, consider smashing that subscribe button down below. If you'd like to see other categories of vehicles, let me know. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.